Every culture in the world has its clowns. Thank heaven, because without them we would just be the most sad and sorry people. Because clowns or mime artists or satirists, they make us see ourselves in ways that we maybe don't want to see ourselves, but which are illuminating, or they help us laugh at things our friends do to us which are outrageous. It helps us laugh at people who command us to do things, people who have power over us, and maybe evil people, but being able to make them seem funny is it's a great gift to all of us. So in America we have vaudeville with all the crazy acts in vaudeville. We have the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus that I used to go to when I was a little girl, and all the clowns coming out of the car, and at the high end of that right now in our time now we have the Big Apple Circus, of course, but we have Stephen Colbert, who is in a way the highest form. He has made this kind of satire and clowning and being a character into art. He's gone way beyond. Then we have the Native American culture. We've got the trickster, who's always up to mischief, and our culture dates back to England and Shakespeare and the court jester. If you just think about all these characters who've been really part of our daily life, if we accept them into it. And in Asia, Chinese have a rich tradition. Japan, Russia. I was in Moscow and went to a one-ring circus where they were incredible acrobats, and then this one clown came on and he was really serious and sad, but because we were laughing we were changed. So I would say he was an artist. He made us different from when we walked in and when we went out. And in France there's great tradition of Marcel Marceau, the great mime artist, and also a pantomimist named Jacques Tati, and we're going to talk about him later because he has a direct connection to the Iberic Concerto. So Monsieur Hulot, we're going to get back to him. And in Italy, kind of like, to me, the mother of so many things, is Commedia dell'arte, which started in the 15th century approximately with groups of kind of players who went around from town to town. They'd set up their stage in the middle of the town square, and they would improvise, they'd do acrobatics, they would clown, they would always have some sort of a plot and a set of characters, which as the years went on, mostly it was the townspeople who would come and listen to them. So it was theater not as was in the courts, which was often the French theater, the pantomime, and very, very elegant. This was much more body and street humor and outrageous things, and sometimes a political satire which made them sometimes dangerous, so that there were rules against them at certain points in history. But there became a sort of a set of stock characters, and those characters have kind of survived until our day. I don't know if you can come in close on this. Here's a picture of some on a stage. Then we've got two characters dancing. Okay. So the Commedia dell'arte is so close to my heart because it also, one of the main characters is Pierrot, the white powdered face, white costume, which changed a lot through history, but he became, in our more modern times, a symbol of the suffering artist, unable to talk, because he did not talk. He was always silent, and he would come in and comment and be the butt of jokes, but somehow always his beautiful spirit would shine through. There was the character Harlequin. That's why I'm wearing my Harlequin dress. He wore these outrageous costumes which actually started out being made out of patches of material, because these people were, using what they had to do their acts. Scapino is another one. Pantalone, who's this huge, lustful, ridiculous character who was always trying to get his way. Then there's the professore, the professor wearing a large cape from Bologna, who thinks he knows everything and he's always looking for cures. A composer who you may by now realize was very, very influenced by these characters was Debussy, because he wrote a lot of songs which include all of these people. Columbina, who was the beautiful, lusty also maiden who flirted with absolutely everybody, and Piero was madly in love with her. Never got her though. Then there's always a set of lovers who are talking to each other. And then there are the zanni, who are the clownish servants. And that's the origin of our word zany. When we say, it's a zany scene, that's because the zanni always used to charge in, and when they needed a change in the action, they would come in and do something totally outrageous so that everybody would be laughing, wouldn't notice that the set was being changed in the background. Another word that we have from commedia is slapstick. You talk about slapstick comedy. Well, they actually had a stick that they would hit each other with, knock each other across the stage, and that was a slapstick. So that kind of humor, which is like buffoon humor, is something that that we've kept to our day. So here's like the kind of things they would say to each other, like Flaminia would enter and say, I'm Flaminia, I'm in love with Lelio, but my father, Pantalone, won't let me marry him. Then Lelio enters and says, I'm Lelio, I'm in love with Flaminia, but her father, Pantalone, won't let me marry her. Flaminia, will you marry me? With all my heart, yes, yes, yes. And then Pantalone comes in, with my money, no, no, no. That kind of thing, back and forth, whoa, and then people knocking each other. That particular scene, by the way, gets extremely bawdy, so I will not continue. They find a way to get married and have the father have to let them get married. So, let's see. Yes, that's my little, we had some kind of buffoonery going on, and we continue to have it with this guy is mocking us here. But I just am throwing these kind of scenes out to you so that you can think about the fact that in studying Luciano Berio Sequenza, which we're going to do in a second, in the next episode, we should remember that he was as Italian as you could get. This man had a heart so big. He had a brilliant mind. And he had a kind of Piero quality to him. I worked with him a lot, so I remember this, that he would back into chairs, or when he was talking about something, or he would forget a very important speaker that was necessary for a performance. So we would have to go through all these kind of commedia dell'arte routines to try to get the thing that he had forgotten, and he would say, oh, I'm sorry. And meanwhile, there was this immense process of great music making going on in his brain. So the commedia was part of him, very, very much so. I think it's part, in a way, through osmosis, part of every Italian person. I mean, if you think really, what does a plate of pasta look like when it has tomato sauce on it? It does this. It's not like a French dish, which is beautifully all placed, right? Italian food is much more theatrical. Italians in their daily life love theater. If there's some sort of crisis, they just love it. And they're fighting out in public or talking to each other. And they have all this wonderful word language that they talk about. They use their hands for everything. And this is theater. So as we study Sequenza, just remember these gestures as we work our way through that marvelous piece. Thanks.